Bina. Girl, give me some of that Bina. Heard you got that Bina. Go and pop that Bina. For me, baby. Alright, let's get to this video. I know I'm late, but we got to get this video out the way because it is about Smackdown. I need to hear some CJAX about this Smackdown because this Smackdown was something else, and we need to hear his opinion on it. So let's go.
You know, at some point, you start to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. You love wrestling. You love WWE. They've told so many great stories. They've done all these great things. And you look at this current product, and I'm disgusted. It's disgusting. Just like John Cena said the other night when he's looking at Cody in the ring with the WWE Championship, it disgusted him. It disgusts me, too, because this product that we're getting is garbage. You are 2 weeks from WrestleMania, and all this night had to offer was a bunch of predictable garbage nonsense on a silver platter for the whole world to see. And all these different jobbers and these guys who are booked like bums backstage, the fans who are eating this stuff up, these are the type of people who WWE is listening to. It's embarrassing at this point. We're 2 weeks away from Mania, and we open up the show with 25 minutes of nothing. A nothing segment with CM Punk where he glazes Chicago and says, they said I couldn't do it. They said I wouldn't do it. I'm not surprised to be here. I didn't deserve to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. Well, guess what? If you keep on wasting our time, you're not supposed to be here. You're right. Do something interesting. What is this generic pander speech to the Chicago crowd? I thought that European crowds were the best, but actually Chicago is. What? Are you going to get to the promo or no? The main event's in 2 weeks, and we got nothing tonight. Who cares that Paul Heyman is by CM Punk's side at Mania? No one cares. We knew 5 months ago that the favor was going to be Paul Heyman helping out CM Punk or being by his side in some way, somehow, whether he turned on Roman or didn't. It doesn't matter. This is garbage. This main event is for nothing, and they're treating it like it's something. First, Roman Reigns felt shoehorned and forced into the feud because he was, and now Seth Rollins feels like a third fiddle jobber in the midst of this entire feud. What is this? You understand? This is embarrassing. What happened to last year when we were doing the first hour of Raw, no ads? The first hour of SmackDown, no ads. Just straight greatness from the Bloodline and from Cody and from Seth and all these story elements. Drew McIntyre, I can't stop thinking about Punk. You know what I'm saying? All that. And now look where we're at. 2 weeks from Mania, nothing is happening. Everything's thrown together on the fly. They have no direction. But I'm supposed to sit back, and I'm supposed to stop critiquing it. Just watch it. Just enjoy it. Just sit back and watch it and be a bot. No. We're going to critique this stuff, and we're going to continue to discuss the garbage state of professional wrestling and of WWE. This is just what it is. You understand how WWE used to pull 8 to 9 million viewers in the U.S. alone, and now you can't get 3 million globally on Raw. But we're supposed to sit here and say this is great? In what world is this great? How? You know, so let's start it off with CM Punk. I've discussed what he did to open the show. That's all he did was just go out there and glaze Chicago and give a generic pander speech. He took the camera from the cameraman and panned it to the crowd and all this other stuff. Nobody cares. So what? Then Paul Heyman comes out there and he says, you deserve all the credit in the world for saving the family. He came out and, you know, he helped us at War Games. He saved the family. I had nowhere else to go. I needed your help. What? CM Punk was the second to last person to enter the War Games match and did absolutely nothing in that match. He did maybe 2 or 3 moves and could barely do the GTS to Solo Sikoa. You could have gotten anyone else to fill that move. You mean to tell me you couldn't find anyone else to give you 3 moves and come in second to last in a War Games match? Go grab Andrade for all I care. Go grab Carmelo Hayes. Go grab Akira Tozawa. Go grab Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was a Paul Heyman guy temporarily in NXT for like a couple weeks. You know? What about Jey Uso? He's about to be a world champion. You have a world champion, a guy who was champ for 4 years, a tag team Hall of Famer, and you got Sami Zayn, who was the Intercontinental Champion, and you can't beat Tama Tonga, Bronson Reed, and Tonga Loa in Solo? In Fatu? Really? None of this stuff makes any sense. And then we get to the favor. The whole first segment is about, oh, what's the favor? What's the favor? What's the favor? Nobody cares what the favor is because we already knew what it was going to be 5 months ago. And speaking of that, how did CM Punk know that he was going to be main eventing Mania 5 months ago? There was nothing that showed us that. What, you beat Drew McIntyre twice, so now you go to Mania? That's how it works now? What is this? This is just embarrassing at this point. There's no evidence. None of this stuff was thought out in advance. We're told that Triple H is a long-term booker. The long gamer. Well, what is he long gaming? This is short-term. It's short-term trash. You know, it's long-term garbage. So, and at the end of this segment, we're 2 weeks from Mania still, and nothing was furthered, nothing was developed, and there was no Cena-esque Cody type segment tonight at all. You know, you could have had a segment where Cody, or not Cody, what's his name, Roman, Seth, and Punk went out there and just grilled each other on the mic and really built the intensity and the impact of this feud, and then you could have ended it off with Heyman siding with Punk. But instead, we get a quasi-nothing burger where Roman Reigns is the only person who has something to say, and Seth is just sitting there laughing like a weirdo, and then CM Punk is just sitting over, saying nonsense about, oh, well, Paul Heyman, you're going to be in my corner. We're going to talk about that segment later, whatever. Next, we get Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix debuts. He's Penta's brother, you know what I'm saying? I think he came from AEW. That's cute, whatever. Nobody cares. He comes over and does the same thing every other luchador wrestler in WWE does right now. They get shoved into the LWO or a random feud with Legado del Fantasma. That's all it is. They start off with a match versus a jobber, so like a Pete Dunne, for example. Or now they bring up Nathan Frazier from NXT, which was cool. He's on the show tonight, and he fights this match. Yes, it's an entertaining 5 to 10 minute match. That's cool. There's flips. There's good selling, there's creative moves, there's athleticism, it's entertaining. What can I say about it? But the fact is that that's all these luchador wrestlers are relegated to doing. Why is there nothing more for them than just to be tag team jobbers or to go wrestle meaningless matches versus undercard jobbers? That's all it is. I'm done with the shtick. It's done. It's tired now. Luchador, what's his name? Rey Fenix does the same stuff that all the other luchadors do. What separates Rey Fenix's moveset from like Nathan Frazier's moveset even? Or even from what's his name? From Dragon Lee's moveset or El Grande Americano. What separates him from that moveset? So it just gets to a point. Yeah, these luchadors are great. All these little flippy doodah wrestlers, these Ricochet-esque wrestlers are all cool, but it doesn't do anything long term. Nobody cares. What are we doing? This is just nobody cares.
Well, I do want to say shout out to Rey Fenix for performing with Nathan for his first debut on Smackdown. I thought that was pretty cool. When I watched it, I thought it was entertaining. So shout out to Rey and shout out to Nathan for performing at that match in Smackdown. That was good. So I'm going to give him his flowers. But let's get back to the video.
And then we get Drew McIntyre's segment where, of course, he's complaining. Drew McIntyre's got an eye patch on like he's Nick Fury, talking about I can't stop thinking about Punk. And then he proceeds to talk about how Damian Priest, is basically a nobody who always gets involved in Drew McIntyre's business, and that's pretty much all this segment is. They're basically teasing that Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest are going to have a segment next week where they go face-to-face and make their Mania match official. I don't care. Then we get LA Knight, who's the only good part of the show week to week, unless Roman's there. That's it. It's literally just LA Knight and Roman being the only good things on the show. That's about all you got, bro. So there you have it. LA Knight comes backstage, and he's basically, Tama Tonga's like, just making noises. And then LA Knight proceeds to say the only noise you're going to be making is after I'm stomping you out. You know what I'm saying? So that was funny. And then he fights Tama Tonga in a meaningless match that we've seen like 8 times. So we don't really need to talk about this. Obviously, LA Knight picks up the W. Solo Sikoa is relegated now to being an absolute jobber. He does absolutely nothing but go back there, to to the sidelines of the rings and does nothing. He does nothing. That's it. So after all that tribal chief, year-long run of him being the fake tribal chief, he loses the Ulafala, and now he's in Jacob Fatu's shadow. And soon enough, he might be in Tama Tonga's shadow if he keeps it up. So there you have that, okay? Then we get to Seth Rollins backstage. This is a pretty funny segment, in my opinion. Paul Heyman's getting asked by Byron Saxton where Roman Reigns is and what the favor is. And Paul Heyman says, whatever the favor is, the answer is yes, okay? You're my best friend. I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of music garbage. And then the big black truck pulls up and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be Roman. And then Seth Rollins comes out of the truck. So that was pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it. It was a pretty funny twist. And then Rollins basically tells Paul Heyman, hey, you look awful, man, but wipe all those tears away and wipe all that stress away because I'm going to be out there later tonight. And so is your big tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So there you have it. Okay. Let me know when Big Chief shows up so we can go out into the ring and handle business. And then he rocks away. And that's it. Then we get to this was easily the weirdest moment of the night and one of the weirdest segments I think I've ever seen in professional wrestling, okay? Charlotte and Tiffany go out there. This was just cringe. It was awkward. There was personal shots taken that didn't need to be taken, and I feel like it was more of a shoot promo pretty much. There was some Tiffany Stratton was getting her voice imitated by Charlotte, like her high-pitched voice. It was like, what am I watching? I did say Tiffany Stratton doesn't learn anything and doesn't learn anything from her past mistakes, like her bad promos, and develop. Tonight she had a couple couple good lines before she started going off the rails. She said a couple things like, you know what I'm saying? She was like, you can win all the belts and you can win all the championships, but the crowd, that's a battle you'll never win, is the battle with the crowd and them loving you, okay? So no matter how many returns you have, no matter how many times you come back, how many belts you win, you'll never be over with the fans, and you have to accept that.
I mean, she wasn't lying. I mean, Charlotte was getting booed all over the ring, and it's sad because she's a legend and the future Hall of Famer, and people booing her all because she came back, and for what? Like again, I don't know how this WrestleMania is going to go with her, because people saying she's going to win, but the internet is saying that Tiffany should win. They didn't say she's going to win. They said she should win because she just won the belt, and already you want to take it from her because Charlotte's back. Nah, it don't work like that unless you're going by favorites, because obviously Tiffany is over the crowd, and Charlotte, your time is coming past. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have established a lot in this business, but people moved on from you, and that's the sad part about it.
And then Charlotte Flair answers Wade Barrett's question about, why did you pick Tiffany to win? And Charlotte basically says, I'm doing charity. And Charlotte Flair got absolutely booed out of the building. She was getting go away heat in this promo, and it's just as simple as that. It felt bad to honestly watch. I felt bad for Charlotte Flair, and
yeah, me too.
And the fact that we had to sit through this and watch her get booed, I felt bad for her, man. I really do. Look, I understand fans have issues with her being forced down our throats and, saying winning all these championships, but she can't control that. That's not like, well, why are you booing her? She can't, that's not something that she has control over.
I think the fans sometimes forget that this is entertainment, and behind closed doors, this is all scripted. This is acting. This is like a movie business. Except it's wrestling, it's sports involved, and at the end of the day, everything is staged, Some things might be personal, like the segment, but the storyline is staged, man. And there's people that's directing this and producing this. But for some reason, they don't get that. They don't even know that all the wins and losses are staged, and is predicted, and is written. Some of these matches are not organic. Most of it's pretty much scripted. Like, they're supposed to win, they're supposed to lose because the boss says so. So you can't be upset about that. You got to blame the boss. Don't blame the employee, blame the boss. And right now, y'all going after Triple H, but you're still going after people that are not Hunter. You're going after Charlotte Flair when she's just doing her job, and you're still booing her and won't even let the woman speak. It's so disrespectful. You did this to Nia Jax too. But at least with Nia Jax, she was able to keep going. Versus with Charlotte, she couldn't stand it. Yeah, they really went off. And it's sad, but time is coming past, Time is coming past, Charlotte.
But like I've been saying, these fans are bots. If a couple fans say they don't like Charlotte and they start booing, everyone else just starts booing. There's no legitimate reason for her to get booed. Yeah, she's had a lot of boring face runs. That's cute. But as a heel, she's perfectly fine as a heel. She's doing a good job as a heel so far. But they don't even let her speak in Chicago. They don't even let her speak. So how is she supposed to respond to Tiffany saying these things and saying that Charlotte Flair isn't the queen of anything and that she's a Nepo baby bum, basically? That's what she says to Charlotte. And Charlotte tries to speak multiple times, but is just rattled by this crowd that boos her out of the building. I don't know how Charlotte let the crowd get the best of her like this, but, they were booing her to the point where there was no point of even talking at that point. If they're just going to continue to do that, it's like whatever now, So Charlotte got booed so heavily that she couldn't even speak, and Tiffany just continues to keep going after all the things she said, and she brings up, she's like, how you're 0-3 in divorce, you're going to be 0-3 after WrestleMania, or she's like, no, wait, what's it called? The same way you are in your marriages where you're 0-3, you're now going to lose to me at WrestleMania, or some stuff like that. You're going to be 0-3 in marriage, like losing to me at Mania. I don't even remember what she said. Some combination of that, right? So bring up her.
She said you're going to be just like you are outside of the ring, alone. What is that record? 0-3? That's what she pretty much said. She was talking about her divorce. That's what she was pretty much talking about. Well, she should have said that, last week, but it is what it is. I mean, hey, she had to say it right there, so she did that, and the crowd sided with her. So there you go. But I mean, even with that line, I mean, I still can't believe Charlotte mentioned Kaiser. I just like, damn. You already know that Dom and Tiffany can't do no damn storyline because you already exposed her boyfriend. So it's like, whatever, man. It's whatever.
Divorces and her divorce with Andrade and all that stuff. And then Charlotte still gets booed after this. But then Charlotte sneaks in a line. She's like, what's it called? Well, that's why Kaiser's in my DMs, huh? And I'm like, bro, Kaiser is not in your DMs. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kaiser.
And not only that, he responded on Twitter about this.
About as sincere as flowers from March shot.
Please do not flatter yourself.
Is not in those DMs, Charlotte. You can stop the cap. That was an emergency line she had to pull just for damage control, you know what I'm saying? Not to make sure things get too crazy. So she had to just do that garbage. But Ludwig Kaiser is definitely not in those DMs, little bro. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. That was a random line that she lied about to, try and save a promo that she got absolutely destroyed in because she couldn't even speak by the crowd. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, we know Kaiser don't want to lose that pink pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I comment down below and say it's Kaiser time in that bedroom. It's Tiffy time. I should have commented and say it's Kaiser and Tiffy time, but hey man, I'm going viral with that tweet. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, bro. Hey, bro. Shout out to Charlotte for mentioning Kaiser, but we know Kaiser's type, okay? And he don't like old bones, all right? He don't like women that are old. He don't like no women like that. He don't like that. He like it young, fresh, and pink. And plus, he feels more of a man when he's around Tiffany. Versus with you would probably treat him like a ham. The same way that Dom is getting treated like a ham with Liv Morgan and and Rhea. But but again, we're not gonna go there. But again, Kaiser feels like the man when he's around Tiffany. Versus if he was around you, Charlotte, you would have bossed him around and controlled him. You know what I mean? So again, he don't want to be like Dominic Mysterio. He want to be like Karen Cross, you know what I mean, with his wife. You feel me? So, and that's the route he wants to go. So, yeah, Charlotte, sorry, but I don't think any guy wants to date you at this point. And after looking at you last night, you really think guys want to hit that? Think again. You're better off dating somebody in their 80s. So, sorry to say it, but hey, he don't want no old bones, you feel me? He like it young, fresh, and pink, But let's get back to the video.
Tiffany had a couple good lines here, but in totality, this was just a weird, awkward, cringe promo with awkward pauses and personal shots. So if you're into that stuff, I'm into that too when there's personal shots, but these personal shots were just very awkward and felt like they were off-putting because there's no actual backstory between either of these people. So I don't know, very weird stuff. But anyways, then we get to DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns Part 15. No one cares about this. The Motor City Machine Guns end up winning, so I guess they're going to fight the Profits at WrestleMania. I don't care about this. The Profits better retain in about 10 minutes max, and it should be a good match and a fun match. So that's all I can say about that. The Street Profits took 4 years to win the tag belts. I mean, at this point, what is there to say? You know what I'm saying? I don't give a crap. Unless this reign is going to be made amazing, there's nothing to say about this stuff. I love the Profits, and the Profits are up because we want the smoke. You dig? But unfortunately, they got the smoke for 4 years and couldn't get nothing. So, you just have to sit with it. Anyways, then we get a really good backstage segment, actually, with Pretty Deadly and what's his name, and The Miz and Carmelo Hayes. And quite frankly, this was actually very entertaining. Pretty Deadly actually did a great job in this segment. They were basically bringing up how they have a musical. Their musical's ready, and it's a song about a guy who's been irrelevant for 10 years and hasn't done anything of importance, and the Marine movies sucked as well. Those were some jokes. And so The Miz basically brings up the fact that at least I have, had movies, and at least I've done things, while you guys have done absolutely nothing. And Carmelo Hayes is, pitching in and talking trash as well, not saying really much of anything other than the fact that Pretty Deadly wants nothing to do with, Miz and him because they'll beat the crap out of him. And then Miz is like, we're going to beat you next week or whatever because I'm the Miz and he's Mello Hayes and we're awesome. him. And that's how this segment ends. So fun and entertaining. I enjoyed it. But again, Carmelo Hayes also has all the talent that you need, and he's relegated to being an undercard jobber. How? How is Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes and Lyra Valkyria all brought up from NXT? Lyra Valkyria gets the IC belt. Tiffany gets the WWE Championship. Braun Breaker gets 2 IC title runs. And Carmelo Hayes has gotten nothing but been dropped out by Andrade 3 times. Really? Really? You know what I'm saying? Those allegations about Triple H, we may need to start looking into those. You know what I'm saying? We may have to start looking at those. I made a video on his, he can't see color, all that stuff he said a couple months ago. We may have to revisit that because this is getting ridiculous now. The fact that Melo Hayes didn't even get a U.S. title reign, but Shinsuke got one just to have 1 title defense in 3 months, and the 1 defense he had versus LA Knight, he lost. So what? It's just stupid. And then after this, we get to Naomi versus B-Fab. This match was like 4 minutes, and before it, Jade Cargill attacked Naomi. But afterwards is what really matters. Naomi basically, she basically is looking for Jade Cargill. She's like, where are you at? And this is why WWE has no real heels. Naomi comes out. She's supposed to be a heel, you know what I'm saying? And she gets cheered. She gets cheered. And Naomi's been doing a very good job over the last few weeks, in my opinion. But the fact that Naomi came out here and got cheered shows you that you have no genuine heels.
Well, I ain't hear no cheering that night. I didn't really hear no cheering that night. But if she got cheered, I mean, it's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal to anyone. I mean, she's a tweener, you know, to others.
No people that are going to go out there and consistently get booed for stuff that they're actually doing. Not Dominic Mysterio getting booed for a gimmick, you know what I'm saying? Or Logan Paul getting booed because people actually hate him because of stuff off camera and all the other stuff as well. And then what happened with Charlotte with the go away heat that's been built up for years. No actual current heel gets genuinely booed because of the bad stuff they've done to other wrestlers and storylines. It's not like that anymore. You're just booed because it's just, whatever. You just get cheered for anything. Naomi's supposed to be a full-blown heel and she's getting cheered. Jade Cargill comes out, she gets cheered. Well, I mean, we're supposed to be getting angry, diabolical versions of both of these women, and instead we're getting nothing. So, I mean, I don't know. But anyways, the match is officially confirmed. It's going to be Jade versus Naomi at Mania. Hopefully there's a stipulation added to this or something, but yeah, there you have it. Jade Cargill versus Naomi at WrestleMania in a singles match. I think that's the first ever singles match that's been done in any of the recent Manias that's not been for a title, if I'm not mistaken. So that lets you know a lot about Triple H, you know what I'm saying? Triple H is apparently an amazing booker. Every talent's included. Triple H is amazing. He's doing all these great things, and this is the first non-championship singles woman match we've had on Mania in years, possibly ever. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, it's not ever. My bad about that. Well, it might be ever. I don't know. Let me know in the comment sections. How long has it been since we've had a singles match at a WrestleMania that hasn't been for a championship between women? I just need to see that stat. Anyways, then we get to Kevin Owens. This is unfortunate here. Kevin Owens basically announces that he is injured, okay? So Kevin Owens is out of WrestleMania, unfortunately. He's going to have to get neck surgery because his neck is injured. And he basically thanks the fans and, lets them know how dangerous this stuff is to do and how he has to deal with this now. And he really wanted to be in the ring with Randy at Mania, but unfortunately, it's not going to work. So, unfortunately, yeah, KO will not be at Mania. Hopefully, he heals up and gets back right, and hopefully, we're able to see him wrestle again. He mentioned he may not be able to wrestle again potentially, so hopefully that's not exaggerate, or hopefully that is exaggeration that he will be able to wrestle again. But yeah, man, unfortunate here. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Then Randy Orton comes out, his music hits. Randy Orton gets up on the apron, and Randy Orton basically stares him down. It's like a stare down of mutual respect, it seems, between the actual people. And then Randy goes in the ring, and Nick Aldis tells him, you're not getting a Mania match this year, unfortunately, anymore. Randy's shocked, and he's pissed off by this, and the voices start speaking to him, and then he RKOs Nick Aldis out of nowhere, okay? So he RKOs Nick Aldis, looks at the Mania sign, but the thing is, how can you not think of Randy Orton, how can you not think of anything to do with Randy Orton for 3 months now? It's just like, what is happening here? KO said in his promo, he was like, for 4 months I've been dealing with this neck injury. So if WWE knew he was dealing with a neck injury, why in the world would you try and have him work through the neck injury? Just have Randy Orton punt him at Elimination Chamber and give KO his 4 or 5 months off and start building a new story for Randy like 7 weeks in advance of Mania. Instead of waiting until 2 weeks before, now you get this news and now you're screwed. And
well, he might be a special guest referee for Cody and John Cena if they could plan it like that, It's only right if you have him into that,
It's just like, what are we doing? But apparently Triple H, again, he's the long gamer. He's the smartest long gamer ever to have nothing planned long term. That's all I can say about this guy. Then we get Fatu versus Braun Strowman. This is a pretty entertaining match with a couple cool spots, but we've seen all these spots before. Going through barricades, going through tables, pretty cool moments, good physicality, and I thought it was decently done. There were some moments in the match I thought where they were just doing random spots, and then after the spot they'd act super hurt, and then all of a sudden we'd skip over that, and then they'd both be back on their feet randomly by the 8 or 9 count just out of nowhere. The classic last man standing gimmicks that make no sense. We know about these. But the point is that what's his name? LNI for the US Championship versus Jacob Fatu is a match that's going to be set for WrestleMania now, I'm assuming, after Jacob Fatu has beaten Braun Strowman in this match tonight. So we have to accept it. The fact that this hasn't been made official for Mania still lets you know that Triple H has no idea what he's doing for this Mania season. The IC belt has no match. The women's IC belt has no match. The women's US belt has no match, and Chelsea Green wasn't even on the show tonight. The men's US belt has no match. I mean, you don't even have a full completed match card for the women's World Heavyweight Championship. Like, this is just embarrassing. You're 2 weeks out from Mania. We're 14 days away. 14 days away. 2 more Raws and 2 more Smackdowns, and that's all you got, and you have 6 matches for a 2-night card. This is ridiculous, okay? It's embarrassing at this point, but for some reason, we have to sit here and act like it's great. We don't have to act like it's great because, we're free thinking. We're actually seeing what's in front of us and realizing it sucks and that we're in a bad spot so we can acknowledge these things. And speaking of acknowledging things, Roman Reigns comes out for the main event. He's absolutely pissed off. He looks livid. He doesn't even raise his ones or do any of that nonsense. And the crazy thing is, he came out, I think, at like 10:42 Eastern time, and the show went off air at like 11:02 or 11:03. So about 20 minutes from the beginning of this segment to the end of this segment. And absolutely nothing happened. Nothing happened that we weren't expecting or that we didn't already really know realistically. Besides Paul Heyman, which we already knew this. But we knew Paul Heyman was going to side with Punk at some point. That's the favor. We all knew this, and now it's going to happen for nothing. Let's say that Punk goes out there at Mania this year, okay? And CM Punk gets beat by Roman Reigns or gets pinned by Seth Rollins, or Rollins or Roman wins the match somehow, some way. What would Paul Heyman be in Punk's corner? What would that have meant in hindsight? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no reason why we have to do this triple threat. This is the worst version of all of these characters. Every single one of them. Roman Reigns was just a champ for 4 years, and now he's relegated to getting knocked out and jobbed out by a GTS at the end of a Smackdown show 2 weeks before WrestleMania. Seth Rollins was just world champion heading into last year's Mania, having a pretty good reign in my personal opinion. And now you get to this point, and Seth Rollins, it now feels like a third fiddle in a feud that he started with CM Punk. He's a third fiddle just sitting over in the corner. Ha 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 ha. The visionary, the revolutionary. Come on. What is this? If this was what you were going to do, just make it all about Paul Heyman and all about Roman Reigns and the star power between him and Punk and all that stuff. If that's what you were going to do, you should have just had Seth go feud with Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Have Braun work with a bigger and better star that eventually can elevate him by Braun potentially retaining at Mania and having a good feud with good promos and good segments leading up to it, and actually had some star power for himself. That's what you could have done. But instead, you add Seth in because why not? We have nothing for him to do, just like we have nothing for him to do every year at Mania. So we'll just throw him into this. Just like we threw him in a match with Logan Paul. We'll throw him in a match with Cody. We'll throw him in a match with KO. We'll throw him in a match with Cesaro at Mania. Seth Rollins is just, what they do with this guy is just embarrassing. It's the same thing with Roman Reigns. He comes out there and for the second consecutive week is the only one who actually has anything of meaning or value and actual intensity to say on the mic. That's it. He's the only one spitting facts. Last week he was bringing out how the only reason this is all happening is because he's the main event. He's the reason why Punk is main eventing. And he says that tonight. He says without him, Punk would never be in a main event. He's fought everyone and anyone, but until he challenged me at Mania is the only time he's ever main evented anything in his life. And it's absolute facts. And then Roman makes fun of the bot fans who are like, hey, he does the voice just like this. He's like, oh, well, he's from my city. I'm going to cheer for him. I don't care. This is the Roman Reigns that we know and that we remember and that we appreciate. We respect, we love, and we're proud of. You know what I'm saying? And then Seth Rollins comes out, repeats the same stuff, and gets chanted over by the crowd. Nobody cares. He says the same thing he said last week. You could have ended this at War Games. You could have cut him out. You'd see CM Punk tried to tear this place down. He tried to burn this place down. Stop. Seth Rollins is a third fiddle in this feud, and he is an absolute afterthought. Seth Rollins honestly should win this match. Just off the sheer fact that no one's paying attention to what this dude's doing, he should just go ahead and win the match. It's nonsensical, but why not? Why not? That's the way the booking goes, so you might as well just do it at this point. And then CM Punk comes out, and CM Punk basically says, this favor goes back to when I first started wrestling, and I was down on my luck, and I was almost out of the company, and you, Paul Heyman, gave me that second chance, and you said that whenever I main event Mania, you will be right by my side, and it will be us against the world. What? What is this corny garbage? It's us against the world! It's me and you together forever! What? What am I watching, a kid's movie? What is this? This is ridiculous. I don't care that he said he was going to be with you forever. Roman Reigns is the dude who elevated the industry and built it back up to being at least watchable until Cody took the belt and ruined everything afterwards. And you're telling me that we're going to throw away Roman Reigns for CM Punk? A guy who left for 10 years, bashed the industry, bashed WWE, and then came back to the industry, got failed out of his own company, and then he comes to WWE, wins a couple matches versus Drew McIntyre, and now he's back in a main event of Mania that he's never been in before. And it's not even a night 2 main event, it's a night 1 main event. And Paul Heyman tells Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is like, Paul, wise him up, and you tell him no. And then Paul Heyman is like, you know what, my tribal chief, I cannot tell him no. I can't do it. I must side with him. And then Roman Reigns pushes Paul into a corner. He's like, man, Paul, what's happening? What's happening? And then Punk hits him in the back with one punch to the back and then picks him up. Roman's wiggling around. He could easily have countered the DTS, but no. He gets GTS'd and knocked out while Seth Rollins is laughing in a corner, pointing fingers, laughing and smiling. And then he walks out of the ring as CM Punk stands there and puts the go to sleep over Roman Reigns. And that's how the show ends. Again, nothing has been furthered. Nothing has been developed. No one is trying in this feud. Nobody cares in this feud. Roman Reigns mildly cares, maybe, but even then, this feud is made up and done on the fly. Nothing was planned. Punk didn't know he was going to main event 5 months in advance. This is BS, and we all know this. This is nonsensical garbage booking that's going to get praised, and people are going to spend tens of thousands of dollars in Vegas to watch Jey Uso and CM Punk and all these other jobber wrestlers do absolutely nothing of meaning besides Cena winning a 17th championship. That's it. So enjoy it. This episode of SmackDown was weird, it was garbage, it was nonsensical, and it was an embarrassment 2 weeks before WrestleMania. It gets a 3 out of 10 for me, maybe a 4 out of 10 for me, you know what I mean? And I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 and just deal with it. Let me know what you thought about SmackDown in the comment sections below. I appreciate your support. I love you. I respect you. I appreciate you. And thank you for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out. One love.
Yeah, SmackDown sucks, but WrestleMania 41 sucks too. That's why I just encourage people to watch NXT and Stand and Deliver and AEW because, you know, ain't no complaints over there, at least around me. So get in the comment box and discuss. What do you guys think, man? Do you think that Randy Orton is going to, you know, interfere in this John Cena and Cody Rhodes match? You know, speak about the video of SmackDown. How you feel about SmackDown? You thought it was mid? You thought it was trash? Or you thought it was good? Comment down below. Let me know, okay? I'm out.